Hey there, welcome to the Mile High Church podcast. I am happy to announce that Carol Wilkie's class, Declutter Your Life, is back, online November 9th through 30th. Explore how to jettison anything toxic, stay in balance, and let go of what no longer serves. We'll use some of the principles found in Marie Kondo's best-selling book to declutter our lives, navigate pandemic fatigue, and set powerful intentions. Learn more at milehighchurch.org. And now, part 3 of Adventure in Faith 2020, Restoring Our Dreams with Josh Reeves.
And good morning again to everyone. We're continuing our Adventure in Faith series this morning. It's been a great adventure in faith. We've talked about increasing our faith in God, increasing our faith in our relationships, and today we're looking at restoring our dreams and aspirations. And I want to thank everyone who's involved in one of our online small groups, and if you're not, you can still go to our Adventures in Faith landing page and find the material there. This is a great opportunity, this 5-week series, to hear a message each week, but to go deeper into your own self-inquiry so that we can increase our certain faith in these uncertain times. How many of you have ever had that experience, just like I was sharing with Lauren, of having a dream for something, having a clear vision, and having it work out just not at all like you expected? Anybody? Yes? You know, a good example for me in this was the night that I proposed to my wife. I had set the date on the calendar, April 11th. It's a Friday night, 2014. It was also an important date because this is when April's mom would come and take Gavin for the night, who was 9 years old at the time. And I had the perfect vision of how this was going to go. We were going to walk down onto the beach, which was just a close walk from our house. The sun was going to be setting, and I was going to get down on one knee and propose to my beautiful wife. She was going to say yes, and everything was going to go wonderful from there. Well, 10 days before that date, I got pneumonia, and it really knocked me on my butt. And so when the date came, I was maybe about 50%. April's mom ran into some traffic on her way, and so she didn't show up until after dark. And so my wife thought I was absolutely crazy, recovering from pneumonia and wanting to take a walk on a windy, rainy, nighttime evening there on the beach. But nonetheless, that's what I wanted to do, and so we keep walking, and we walk onto the sand, and there's all these people, and they're holding lit candles. It's a candlelight vigil for someone who passed away, which of course is tragic and sad, but not perhaps the most ideal environment for a marriage proposal. So we keep walking along, and I get down on one knee, and I say, "April, will you marry me?" And April's heart is so kind, she immediately gets on one knee too and says, "Will you marry me?" And I say, No, that's not how it's supposed to work, April. She says, yes. I put the ring on, we kiss, and I'd like to say that we at least got some great pictures. However, that's about as good as it got. We saw our son Gavin the next morning and shared with him the big news, and his first words were, "Where are we going on the honeymoon?" You know, another perfect dream and vision would have to be transformed. You know, the great writer John Updike said, "Dreams come true. Without that possibility, nature would not incite us to have them." Dreams come true. Without that possibility, nature would not incite us to have them. It's such a powerful statement to me because it says that my dreams aren't mine alone. They belong to the universe in which I live. Now, I know there are dreams and vision that come from the surface of our consciousness, that are the result of our fears and anxieties, our desires and wants, but there's something deeper. I believe in each and every one of us that connects us with the grand dreamer of all of life, that impels us with possibility, that reminds us of the depths of love, and that through this incredible thing called dreams, aspirations, and visions, can bring forth the possibilities not only of our life, but of spiritual beings, as human beings in this playground that we call life. Unfortunately, what happens for so many of us is in challenging times, in uncertain times, we too often take that as an excuse to put our dreams in storage. Right? We're like Mitch Hedberg, who said, "I'm sick of following my dreams, man. I'm just going to find out where they're going and catch up with them later." Too many of us have, in this time, in this year, have said that thing that I really want in my life, that dream, that aspiration, we've felt the need to put it aside, to cover it up, and just to focus on surviving, just to focus on getting through. And I'm here to challenge you today, to say that now is not the time to tuck away your dreams and aspirations, but to dream them that much more vividly, to step into them with even more courage. Now is the time to dream big, to aspire grand, and to step into that greatness that you know in your heart of hearts that you are. Sigmund Freud, the psychologist, defined dreams in his interpretation of dreams, his book, as a way of thinking. Dreams are a way of thinking. That's a profound quote for those of us who've been in this science of mind teaching for a long time. The reason why is because we recognize in our teaching that we live in a creative intelligence. Intelligence is creative. And yet I think we make a mistake when we think that the only way that intelligence expresses creatively is through the language of our inner voice or in our spoken voice. Yes, language and words are a way of thinking, but so is feeling. Feeling is a way of thinking. Intuition is a way of thinking. Choices and actions are a way of expressing intelligence. And dreams, visions, aspirations, these are a creative form of thinking as well. And thus, when we treat them in this way, we open up the channels for greater possibility in our lives. I think one of the things that challenges so many of us with our dreams and our aspirations and our visions is that we take them too much as prophecy. We take them too much as signs of how things should happen in a particular way and forget that, yes, it may happen just as you dreamed, just as you imagined it. But when we can take our dreams instead as inspiration, as snapshots of possibility, as guides along our journey, as revelations not of what is to come, but of who we must become to live our best life. For me, the best dreams don't tell me what's going to happen, but they give me a sign of who I'm being called to become, even when it sounds ridiculous in relationship to what I want to accomplish in my life. I love how the comedian Steve Martin put it in his memoirs about becoming a successful stand-up comedian. He said, "Despite a lack of natural ability, I did have the one element necessary to all early creativity: naivete. That fabulous quality that keeps you from knowing just how unsuited you are for what you are about to do." You know, it's funny to me because that's how I feel standing before you, having the honor to get to share, spiritual truth in my own experience with you. Who do I think I am to do that? But I dream, and so do you. And each of us has that opportunity to practice that courageous naivete that knows maybe we're getting into something that's bigger than our britches, but that there's something within us so powerful, a seed of divine possibility, that oak seed that has everything that the tree needs to be, and all we have to do is practice it, is nurture it, is dream it, is aspire it, is to expand it. And so I want to share some techniques this morning for restoring our dreams, for revitalizing our aspirations, and for becoming that much more ourselves. How can we restore our dreams of inspiration? We can tune into them and articulate them with greater clarity. Things didn't work out the way I wanted to when I proposed to my wife. But looking back now, we wouldn't change a single thing about that experience. It was perfectly imperfect in every way. It was our story. We didn't get to take that romantic honeymoon that we had envisioned in Europe. We wound up in a little family cabin in Washington State. But what was the most important thing? That we were together. What a wonderful message to get early in your marriage, that being together and being in love is the most important thing. This word inspire, it comes from the Latin inspirare. I know I'm butchering that, but inspirare. And the word aspire comes from the Latin aspirare, and both mean to breathe into or to breathe upon. I can't think of a more powerful way to restore our dreams of inspiration than to open up to inspiration, to see it as God's breath in us. Inspiration is God's breath in you, and what you do with that breath is your aspiration. So if you'd like, take a moment and practice that with me this morning. God, I receive your breath in me. And I listen for what it inspires in me, for who I am to be, for who I am to become, for the possibility that you have implanted in me. Feel that breath. What are the images? What are the ideas that are showing up for you? And ask as well, aspiration. Now that I have this breath of inspiration in me, what will I choose to breathe it into? Into expanding my relationship? Into achieving more and more with my career? Into taking better care of myself and holding a higher vision for my country and for my world? Feel that inspiration. Be open to it. Be open to those divine circuits, and be willing to take that divine breath and bring it back into your life. How did Eric Butterworth said it? He said that life is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift to God. Dreams come true. Without that possibility, nature would not incite us to happen. Our dreams belong not just to us, but to that divine energy all around us. Perhaps my favorite definition of the divine comes in the middle of a sentence that Ernest Holmes shared in a little book he wrote called This Thing Called Life. They call it The Art of Life now for some reason. And he defines the divine as infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. Isn't that powerful? God is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. So for ourselves, when it comes to inspiration, we recognize that God is infinite energy. It's all around us. It's what made the universe. It's what's making us right now. It's what sustains us. And combined with our limitless creative imagination, that's God in us. So when we bring those two together, it's not just a definition, it's a recipe for how to co-create with Spirit in your life. Acknowledge the infinite energy and couple it with that creative imagination in you. Bring it to your work. Bring it to your relationships. Bring it to your vision for your family, for your community, for your country. The next time someone asks you what you do for a living, say, I take infinite energy and I couple it with limitless creative imagination. Hey, how's your love life? Well, it's infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. Yeah. Apply this energy that we know in our heart of hearts is real and bring it to your life. Dreams come true. Otherwise, nature would not incite us to happen. And remember that the best dreams don't come in the deepest of sleep, but when we're the most wide awake, when we're most conscious of the gift of life and our ability to use it constructively, creatively, positively, and with deep and profound meaning. How can we restore our dreams of revelation? A dream of revelation, again, for me, isn't so much a prophecy of something that's to come. It's a swift spiritual kick in the butt that tells us who we're being called to be in our life. Every once in a while in my life, I stop and I ask myself, Josh, whose vision are you living in? And with so much going on around us, it's easy to catch myself settled in someone's lousy vision of life and the world. Whose vision am I living in? Is it of some talk show host? Is it a collective panic that I might see on social media? Is it the idea that divisiveness with one another is how we achieve success as a society? Is it fear? What vision am I living in? Is it an outdated vision that I used to have? Or can I take that time and settle into a divine vision for my life? One that sees myself, my loved ones, my country, all of life in a consciousness of wholeness. And if I'm willing to listen for it, it can show up. But I've got to be willing to expand my vision. It doesn't just mean some foo-foo positivity. It's that bold ability to, yes, perhaps it seems naively, but to step into that idealism that holds us and ourselves as one. I love something that Rainer Maria Rilke shared to a young poet many years ago. He said, "If your daily life seems poor, do not blame it. Blame yourself. Tell yourself that you are not poet enough to call forth its riches, for to the Creator there is no poverty and no poor, indifferent place." Now, I know that sounds kind of mean, right? But it speaks to this idea that positivity and idealism isn't just a form of denial against the challenges that are taking place. It's the duty of the courageous soul to step into that willingness to say, God is responsible for bringing forth the love, the light, and the inspiration into my life, but I'm responsible for listening for it. I'm responsible for being a channel for it. It's up to us to be willing to bring that grander vision into our lives. And so, restoring our dreams of revelation, I invite you to say this to yourself, to inquire within it. God, I am willing to see in a grander way. Reveal to me my profoundest self. Reveal to me my best life. Reveal to me a vision of the world, not only as what it truly is, but what it truly can be. Dreams come true. Otherwise, nature would not incite us to have them. But we must remember, for our dreams to come true, we must dream them in the first place. We must take that time to look at the different areas of our life. Take all that time you might put into worry or anxiety or to regretting. Imagine if you took all that time, added it up, and put it into constructive dreaming, constructive visioning for your relationships, for your self-care, for your community around you. And you may be surprised at what gets revealed. A grander, greater, more appreciative, centered, and inspired you. Lastly, today I want to talk about restoring our dreams of guidance. That for me is my favorite way to view a dream, a vision, or an aspiration. It is like a guiding star. And as I live my life, I follow that guiding star. And what happens, even though I never reach the star itself, what grows up in the following winds up even grander than I could have dreamed or envisioned. And it's a reminder sometimes to not get so attached to exactly how the dream has to play out into reality. In fact, be willing to let that go and trust in what comes up for you in the following. It wasn't until I was able to release my limited outline of what the perfect partner was supposed to be that I found that the perfect partner for my life was there already. It wasn't until I released my attachment to how my ministry was supposed to look that I found the perfect ministry for me. It wasn't until I released my attachment to my image of being some sort of perfect person that I became who I really am and want to be, to my own surprise. When we're willing to see that our guides, again, are snapshots of possibility and trust in the following of them, amazing things take place. That's why it's so important to see that life is not ours to make alone, but there is a grander presence around us, available, willing, ready to go, if we're willing to use it, if we're willing to allow ourselves to be worthy enough of its light, its life, and its vision. There's an old story I love from James Thurber, a great humorist who wrote for The New Yorker, wrote The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And it's a story called The Moth and the Star. And I just want to say I love a powerful spiritual story about moths, because we talk about butterflies a lot in spirituality, don't we? The butterflies are beautiful, but moths are made and created the same way. They're just not as beautiful, so we don't talk about them as much. You don't go to a memorial service and say, Aunt Helen is now transformed into a beautiful moth. It doesn't happen. So it's good to give moths a little credit. And this little story is about a moth who sets its eyes every night on a star. And every night it flies as far as it can, hoping to reach this star. And the little moth wants to know that it's living its little life correctly. And so he shares this with his parents. Mom, Dad, I'm spending my time chasing a star. And Mom says, no. Stars aren't the thing to chase after. Lampposts, that's the thing to chase after. House lamps, that's the thing you need to be around if you want to live a great life. His dad turns to the moth and says, look at you, boy, a young, strong, strapping moth like you. You haven't burned a wing in months. Look at your brothers and sisters, how scorched up they are, living life correctly. But the moth didn't listen and kept reaching out to that star. He had thought that the star was just caught in an elm tree somewhere. He didn't realize it was 250 million miles away, but he kept going after that star. And eventually, his whole family had been scorched to death by this time, but he believed that he actually had reached that star and started telling people that he had reached that star as well. The moral of the story, Thurber tells us, who flies afar from the sphere of our sorrow is here today and here tomorrow. I don't know about you, but I can relate with that little moth. Living in a world or a culture that says things should be done this way. But that's where the dreamers come in. That's where the visionaries show us that doesn't have to be the case. That's where the potential of humanity and spiritual consciousness is born in each of us, alive in each of us right here and right now, if we're willing to push past the self-imposed boundaries of what was, to step into the glory of what is and can be. You have that power. You have that ability. Use it. Dream it. Aspire it. Grow into that divine life. Let us restore our dreams of revelation by saying to ourselves, God, I am willing to see in a higher way. Reveal to me my highest self. Reveal to me my best life. Reveal to me the world not only as it truly is, but what it can be. And again, restoring our dreams as guide, this is the one I meant to share. Spirit, I am willing to receive a guide upon my journey. Take that in. Spirit, I am willing to receive a guide upon my journey. An image, a virtue, a feeling, an ideal. Take a moment. Can you see an image? Can you feel a virtue? An emotion, an ideal? Once it's there, once you've captured it, say to yourself, I will follow this guide, knowing that the blessing comes not in where I wind up, but in the wonder of the adventure. I let your inner guidance within inspire my choices towards a greater realization of truth. Mary Oliver once said, the most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power restive and uprising, and gave to it neither power nor time. It's time to dream for our lives again. It's time to dust off the dreams that we put away and dismissed as not coming true, and to see that maybe a different story than we thought took place. It's time to put ourselves back in alignment with that guiding star, to remember dreams come true. Without that possibility, nature would not incite us to have them. What is the dream that the divine is bringing forth in you? What is the breath that the divine is breathing into you to aspire and bring to your life? What is the revelation about who and what we're all here to be that you can embody that much further, not just in times that are good, but in times that are tough, times that are challenging? It's time to transcend the lamppost and reach for the stars. As we move into our prayer this morning, written by our wonderful Adventures in Faith Committee, we'll put it up on the screen, and I invite us to say it together. My dream is calling with an invitation to a brand new experience of life. It invites me to rise up, claim my place, and to absolutely own my gifts, my talents, and my truth with certainty. I surrender my fears and uncertainty and allow them to be embraced and restored by the power, the presence, and the truth that is God. I am one with this creative intelligence. It lives and moves and breathes as me. And so, moving into a depth of consciousness, I declare for myself, and I invite you to align your voice with my own as I greet and welcome my dreams. I greet and welcome those highest aspirations. I greet and welcome those visions of better living, of a better world, of a greater way of being. And I recognize these dreams are not alien. They come from the most intimate and sacred place, held for each of us in our own hearts, to tap into, to cultivate, and to bring to life through our word, through our deeds, through listening to our intuition, through following the star that we may project as way out in the universe, but is already bright and shining within. As we bring and meet the light in us with the light in this world, that light of infinite possibility, we cultivate limitless creative imagination. And I see and declare for myself and for all of those who might be living in the gladness of possibility, or perhaps are struggling with a sense of defeat. I know that that dream still lives, that the visions are the life of our very spirit. And I know that they demonstrate for each of us as inner healing, as a greater sense of well-being, as greater prosperity and a sense of flow, and a sense of trust in life around us. Not breaking us down, but bringing us together to shine a greater light for ourselves and all that is life. We let it be, we step into it in grace and in gratitude. We say, thank you, God, and we allow it to become. And so it is.
Thank you for listening to the Mile High Church podcast. This podcast is made possible by the generous contributions from listeners like you. If you'd like to make a donation, please visit us at milehighchurch.org. Have a fabulous day.